my second thought for the day that Gary has asked me to give this week about Christian to inspire me. And this particular Christian, I think, has been an amazing witness recently through the coronavirus pandemic. However, I'm not starting with his story because I think it's important to put a Christian perspective on coronavirus. You know, I think one of the questions I've wrestled with over this lockdown is, why did we have this virus happen in the first place? What purpose did it have in God's plan for us? I think the answer is multi-layered, but I do believe that coronavirus has happened because God allowed it. God has created the world and nature in all its wonder and power. And in Colossians 1:16, Paul wrote, "In him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible. All things have been created through him and for him." As coronavirus is a living organism, it is theologically impossible for me to say that this was not allowed by God. But one of the most beautiful things I've witnessed over this time has been the church. You know, I've watched in amazement as churches adapted to the conditions more quickly than most businesses by going online overnight and ensuring a message of hope and of peace was proclaimed into millions of households. I witnessed people in churches globally praying for a common cause. And in this town, in Sawbridgeworth, it was the two local churches who came together and found volunteers to provide rotas for shopping for those who needed to hide in their homes and avoid contact with others. And I witnessed churches coming together and recording The Blessing, a beautiful song that proclaims God's presence over the nations. The UK version has notched up over 3 million views on YouTube. And the song was recorded by many countries. And I have to say, all of them has made me weep in total awe of the role the church has played in the pandemic. My observation is that this virus has provided a situation where God's kingdom has been shouted from our virtual rooftops. However, I think it's clear to say there's still so much more to do. There are 40,000 families across the UK who are grieving and countless more who are terribly scarred by this pandemic. I believe there's a massive need, and I'm excited by what the church in the UK will do to proclaim his kingdom of love and of peace, and to give that practical help into the lives of the people of this nation as we move on. But my commentary here is quite a British perspective. What does this opportunity look like for the rest of the world? How will the church react? In the Australia blessing, the commentary at the beginning said, "We, as Christians, were made for times like this." How true that is. So my story, well, an example of how Christian witness is getting proclaimed in these times can be seen through the experience of this pastor in Northern Ireland named Mark McClurg. Newspapers and the television news took hold of his story. Here we have a man of 40. He was fit with no underlying health conditions, and he had a terrible reaction to the virus and ended up in hospital and ICU. He created a video where he pleaded with people to respect the social distancing requirement that the government mandated. His life was in the balance for several days. His wife and the church, and indeed many Christians around the world, were on their knees praying for his healing. And then a few weeks later on Twitter this came, and again Mark McClure hit the news. Mark wrote this. He said, "I have some amazing news. I'm leaving the Ulster Hospital. I want to thank everyone for their prayers. I want to thank the staff at the Ulster Hospital for saving my life. I look forward to enjoying life. Be kind." And I think this is the best bit. "Jesus is my healer." What an amazing witness this is. Jesus is the healer, and we as Christians, I believe, need to take Mark's example and proclaim his healing name. Prepare ourselves, get ready to serve the people of the UK or wherever we are as we come out of these times. God bless you.